Yeah, welcome everybody to a Skeleton Crew Motor City Metrics, at least for now. Sorry for the delay. I'm not the most technologically advanced member of the team, and Raj is away on business right now. He's going to try to join us soon. He's out on the West Coast getting food, I believe, at the moment. And as soon as he gets back to wherever, he will join us, and he'll probably fix this stark black background that I have displayed for us right here. Where Yoop and I are speaking to you from the void. And of course, Mike is he's working tonight. So yeah, just for right now, just be the two of us, and we'll be discussing the last 6 Tigers games. I think
Yeah.
probably spent a fair amount of time on today's game and what the future holds here for this team. So yeah, welcome everybody. Of course, we remind you to like and subscribe and do all those good things. Go buy some merch, right? People like merch. People like clothing.
100%.
Use Bet Online for all your degenerate gambling, and yeah, and then listen to us. So yeah, we're here tonight. Tigers 4-2 in their last 6 games. Somehow feels disappointing. You got to Oakland, you lose a heartbreaker in extra innings, and they come back and win a really close game, and then a late blowout, and then 2 pretty fun kind of early blowouts against the Rockies. Although the second game got a little closer than I think people liked. But then today was just a bummer all around. It was one of those games, and it feels like the Tigers can't really afford to have any more of those. But I don't know. What were your thoughts about today's game?
Well, you're right. The season is dwindling. The number of games left. You can't afford too many in the loss column. But they weren't going to go undefeated either. And I think today just showed you that even when you're playing against a weak team, a sweep is hard. This sport lends itself to both teams having a pretty good chance at winning. And you saw that today where Ryan Feltner, probably a guy I would imagine half the people watching or more had never heard of, was able to make the Tigers offense look like that offense from June that wasn't scaring anybody. And it's kind of the offense that, despite playing so well in the second half here, we still see from time to time where maybe they put a threat on the board 1 inning or 2 innings for the game, but that's about it. But they kept it close. They had their chances. But again, with 3 hits, I think 2 actually before the 9th inning, they end up with 4 hits and 3 walks on the day. It's just not going to produce a whole lot.
Yeah, it was. Sometimes in baseball, bad pitchers pitch well, and good hitters hit poorly. And sometimes it happens at the same time, and it's a bummer. And obviously, yeah, like you said, you go in there expecting to beat the Rockies all 3 games just because they're so bad, but they are big leaguers, and they have a couple guys, and you're not going to win that many games when you score 2 runs. The hope today, I guess, was, toward the end, I was like, all right, well, hopefully they'll scratch across something late or keep it tied, get to extras, weasel out of it, get the sweep. But it just wasn't meant to be. And part of the reason is, and it's kind of Detroit's Achilles heel, I think, this year, their fatal flaw, even if they were to make the playoffs, which, losing today obviously doesn't help, but it's still alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the bullpen. And as much as we, marvel about what they've been doing with the pitching for the last 2 months, basically, there just aren't those high octane strikeout guys in the bullpen. And like the Rockies have the worst bullpen in baseball, and they had 3 different guys out there firing 99, 100 today. And it's just the Tigers just don't have that.
Nope.
I would make that kind of a priority in the offseason, but that's just me.
It's really to the point, even when they're doing well, when the Tigers get a big strikeout late in the game, my eyes open wide because I'm a little bit stunned by it, because they don't have the high heat to blow things past people. And, today when, as much as we like Foley, and he's been very, very good for the last month or so, when that runner got to third today, I'm like, they're going to get that run home, and they hit the deep fly ball and they got the run in because he just doesn't strike out a ton of guys, even when he's going well. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, if there's obviously, I think they need to add a hitter or 2, but bullpen would be 1B in terms of finding some guys with some electricity to come out of that bullpen late in games.
Yeah, and I wouldn't hate I wouldn't hate if they. I know this sounds like blasphemy now, right? But trading trading some of your young hitting prospects or young hitting major leaguers for some quality relief arms. Do the opposite of the Gregory Soto trade or the Joe Jimenez trade. But you can, I don't know. You always feel like you can find guys, and I was getting ready to say, I marvel at Brendan Hanafy. We've talked about it before, how he looked like a guy we'd never see again, and then he's been awesome so far,
Yeah.
and then he gave up the tying run today. It's like, oh well, that's a bummer. But again, it's like a hard throwing sinker baller, and that part of that I think is just whatever the Tigers are leaning into with Robin Lund and Chris Fetter and Juan Nieves and these kind of seam shifted changeups and sinkers that has really helped a lot, but it does result in not a ton of swing and miss. And they could have used it today. They didn't get it. It's unfortunate, but
it's almost like what they do is really good through inning 1 through 7, but in a tight game in the 8th and 9th, missing a bat is good.
Yeah. But and we got out. It was interesting. Today was not. I mean, it was vintage Tarik Skubal, but also not. And in a strange way, his last outing in Oakland, he gave up something like 9 hits, but like 6 of them were just like bleeders and bloops. It was not. He wasn't getting knocked around. And in this one, he gave up 1 home run on I think it was a knuckle curve or something like that. It was not his best pitch, but he didn't have his changeup today, which he's had all year long. That's a pitch that's got like a 50% whiff rate for him, and he got 1 whiff on the changeup today, and so he just kept throwing 4-seamers by him, and that's what makes you a spectacular pitcher, right? When you've got your best pitch isn't working, and you still go 6 innings with 1 earned run, and everybody wanted him to go out for the 7th, and I do get that, right? The Tigers are essentially in the playoffs right now, but he did take a comebacker off his wrist, and I don't think you want, the other, not his pitching wrist, but you still I think, in that situation, I'm going to trust the manager to know what the pitcher can and can't do, or just, you don't want to throw him out there if he's got it didn't look too bad, but like say he's got a hairline fracture or something like that, and you put him out there and it makes it worse and he can't, so.
Well, it's not like Hanafy and Gunther gave up a run, but it's not like they got lit up either. I mean, runs happen. Don't score 2 runs if that run is going to kill you. Score more yourself is part of it.
That's the main thing. I said it's you score 2 runs, you're not going to win many games. It's just the way it is, and it's hard to complain too much. The Tigers have been scoring a lot of runs lately, and it's a lot of it is on the back of the young kids. It's been really fun to watch. Parker Meadows continues to be this kind of spectacular big moment hitter. Couldn't do it today. Nobody can do it every game.
No.
Riley Green has been hitting well. Trey Sweeney continues to come up big with big power at times. The rest of the game is a little bit iffy, but he's looked fine to me, right? I don't know if you want to make him your everyday shortstop next year, but they I don't know. It seemed like there was a little bit of a message when they sent Kreidler down today for Winsel Perez. It's going to be Trey Sweeney batting just about every day, and if not him, it's going to be McKinstry a day or two. I think maybe what's that?
I think we may have seen. We've said about Hanafy, and I was dead wrong. Might be the last we see of Kreidler in the big league uniform in Detroit.
Yeah, I actually wrote that down in my little notes here. Winsel back last time we see Kreidler. It just felt like everything passed him by. Unfortunately, his moment was he had chances, never really at the right time. The injuries got him at all the wrong times, and he just hasn't produced when he got the chances. Still capable of making a spectacular defensive play, but you need more than that.
I was going to say, well, we'll always have that jump throw we made this year for a big out. That was a beauty. But I think with Sweeney, it was interesting. I think I only caught a glimpse of it today because I was working during the game, and I probably shouldn't have been watching the game as much as I was. I hope nobody's listening from the school district. But anyway, I believe Harris said something about, they were talking about how Sweeney was definitely not a throw-in for the deal, that he was someone that they had targeted. Now obviously you're going to say that, but I don't think that quote comes out if he probably didn't mean it. And I think the guy, he looks okay defensively to me. I don't know if he's not Ozzie Smith, but you don't have to be. And he seems like he's settled in at the plate after the first few games where I thought he looked a little jumpy. He's making some really good swings right now. So I don't know if he's the shortstop next year, but I think he goes into spring training next year with a chance.
Yeah, I mean, and by outs above average, he's been very good at shortstop. Now it's defensive stats in a small sample, you never ever know. But I agree with you. I think he's largely looked fine. There was one play earlier this week where he kind of waited on a ball too long and ended up in an infield single, and you can't do that. You've got to have a better internal clock than that. But yeah, everything else, I don't. He doesn't, like you said, he doesn't have the range of Ozzie Smith, but the arm seems fine. He gets to enough. So yeah, I'm comfortable. I mean, again, who knows what's going to happen with Javi Baez and his. They said he was for the team picture. He was walking out with a cane. And I think I heard he could be out for 3 months. Could be out for 12 months. So who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess wouldn't hurt to go out there and sign a shortstop. But that, like I said, the young kids have been performing well. We even Colt Keith is kind of just humming along. He hasn't really exploded for power again recently or anything like that. But he comes up with big hits, or had a big walk today. Worked a really nice walk in the ninth inning to get the bring the tying run to the plate, and it just they couldn't materialize the runs. But
he has just kind of become Mr. Up the Middle and Mr. Go the Other Way.
Yeah.
Right? It just looks like he's trying to serve ball. And that's fine. He's doing fine. But yeah, I've been surprised. He just hasn't really. Well, I take that back. He has made a couple times this week. He's made a big swing. Looked like he was going for the downs, and he whipped.
Yeah.
So it's just not happening yet.
Well, and he ripped a few balls foul. Yeah. And he's done it in both series. In Oakland, I think 2 nights in a row, he hit home runs that were foul, basically. And I think he did it again today or earlier. So his timing just is a little bit off. You can see him, kind of the wheels are turning a little bit. And I think we noticed this earlier in the year. And I'm trying to remember, it was the home run against the lefty where it seems like he really is into, you throw him an inside pitch and he wants to turn on it. And that's what, if you throw it inside, he'll try to launch. Otherwise, he's going to go up the middle and the other way. That seems to be his approach right now. And I don't know, I think teams maybe have figured it out too, but maybe he's just not waiting enough for those inside pitches. It's tough to tell. But he's still, like I said, he's still doing just fine. And even Torkelson, came up with a big hit today. And Jace Young still doesn't have a homer or much of, extra base power, but he's at least walking occasionally. So there's that.
Yeah, he's getting on base. He's a lot of singles, but that's okay. He's feeling his way. He's still, he got here to the big leagues sooner than I thought he would. I didn't really think we'd see him this year, to be honest with you. So he's holding his own, not embarrassing himself. He's helping the team.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think Young was ready. I also didn't think Sweeney was ready. I didn't think a lot of the rookie pitchers were ready. And that's the other thing we really have to give a lot of credit to. I mean, so in the last 6 games, we've seen, Brent Herter went out there on, what was it, Saturday?
Yep.
I want to say 5 1/3 innings of 1 run. He's been really solid.
Yeah.
Ty Madden, 5 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. Got a couple huge strikeouts in big situations. Really looked, poised out there. And then Kader Montero, out of absolutely nowhere, throws a Maddox, one of the more electrifying pitching performances we've seen by a Tigers pitcher in a long time.
Yeah, and now, people can say, well, it was the Rockies, but Rockies get paid too, and he looked like a big league pitcher, and somehow that knuckle curve. Have you seen that before from him? The quality that he was throwing that the other night, because that thing looked vicious a few times.
Well, I mean, he's always had the pitch. It's always been a part of his arsenal going back to short season Connecticut. That was the pitch that had the 3,000 RPMs. And the slider was more like 2,800. And both of them, I don't know. Like, I thought in the minors, he would throw them both. And I thought the knuckle curve was the better of the two, but I thought they kind of worked better in conjunction because they both kind of had the same shape. But the knuckle curve definitely seems to have a little bit more depth to it now, whereas the slider is getting a little bit more a horizontal movement. And yeah, I mean, that was just, and he finished the night with one, right? And that was pretty fun. But that's, you go through and you look at the stats and they're kind of underwhelming. They're just kind of average so far this year. we've seen the flashes of brilliance, and we've seen kind of the frustrating, spotted a 5-run lead in San Diego and couldn't hold it.
Right.
And you don't know what the future holds for someone like that. Is he going to be able to find the consistency that he needs? Because the stuff is there for a mid-rotation starter. The results there, a number 5 starter. So maybe split the difference and say he's a number 4 in the future. But I don't know. We'll see.
I'd be just fine.
I would think that he'll. I think we said last week. I don't think you give him a job out of heading into spring training, but you certainly give him a chance to win one of the rotation spots next year.
No question. And with Ty Madden, I mean, that outing in particular, his last one there. This is a guy who came up to the major leagues with a 7.36 ERA or something like that in AAA. And I hate to say that, Chris Fetter has pushed all the magic buttons and everything like that, but I think that gets a little overhyped. Certainly he's wonderful at his job, but something turned a light on with Mr. Madden.
Yeah, actually, we don't need to get into it just yet, but I kind of have an inside the number about all that.
Oh, good.
Because it's fascinating, and I've got a theory, but and I kind of said it on the minor league show, so it's not like it's a secret, but yeah, it's definitely very interesting to it basically makes me just kind of completely rethink what I need to be looking at AAA pitchers, at least with the Tigers when when they're ready to come up.
Reese Olson, same thing. I mean, really, that's the story. I mean, can any, are these going to guys sustain the success that Reese Olson was able to into next year? Who knows? But, Reese Olson is the guy that can hold up in the air and say, hey, look what we did with him. We're going to do this with these guys too.
Well, and speaking of Reese Olson, he has made 2 rehab starts for Toledo already. His last one looked pretty darn good. He got I want to say he had 12 whiffs in 3 innings. The breaking balls were working, the changeup was working. His fastball was only like 92, 93, which is maybe a slight concern, but everything else was working there. And I can't imagine he needs more than, I'm sure he'll get 1 more rehab start, but I think that might be enough for him. I don't know. They held him to about 50 pitches, but at this point, I mean, doesn't it seem like you could just bring him up and use him as kind of the way they've been doing these bulk relief outings?
Yes.
You bring Reese Olson in against I don't know. I don't know if he has platoon splits at all. Actually, I haven't looked into it, but get him 4 innings, 60, 70 pitches, something like that in the big leagues. He doesn't need to spend that time down in Toledo.
Kind of agree. That's what I kind of thought last week too, after his first outing. So, I've been wondering just who do they send back? But that'll be kind of interesting too. Maybe whether it's one of the, is it, I don't know, Ty Madden? Is it Gunther?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Yeah, they've got, is Ricky Vanasco still up?
Oh yeah, forgot about him. That's probably the guy.
Yeah, they just haven't been using him a ton. It's just it's funny how even when it's just a 28-man roster, some people we just haven't been seeing Justin Henry Malloy much at all.
Right.
They just kind of came back, but and also there's been some sort of plague ravaging the Tigers clubhouse.
Yes.
So that was my other theory with Skubal today, is that maybe he wasn't even 100%. I don't know. I never heard anything about it, but
no, it's possible. Yeah, Malloy was swinging the bat. He had a couple good swings in Oakland, but I don't know. Did he even play in this Colorado series?
I'm checking. His numbers against lefties are pretty dang good. But
he was sick.
So I'm looking at he's hitting 308 against left-handed hitters or left-handed pitching. Let's see with a 196 WRC plus against left-handed pitching. So, there's always room for someone like that. The Tigers have 2 someones like that, I guess, with Andy Ibanez. Unfortunately for Malloy, he can't play infield or outfield really. And Ibanez can do that. So it's, there's room to have a lefty masher on your team, but I just don't know if that's, I don't know if that's a tough one for his development, for Tigers' future, what to figure out to do there. It's almost, they gave him almost 2 full years in Toledo to try to figure out the outfield, and it's not great.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe you trade him for Joe Jimenez.
Sure. I redo the trade in reverse. I love it.
So, yeah, but I don't know.
So, the thing about it is they went 4-2. it's hard to complain. If they go 4-2 in June, you're like, wow, great, fantastic. But these games, because of the calendar and where we are, they meant a lot. Both of those losses, I think their last 3 losses have all been pretty tough. The one in San Diego where they blew the lead, the Friday night in Oakland, we could talk about that one for a long time. People were a little upset about some bullpen usage, some pitch selection. It just, they got the lead, I think, at least 3 times in extra innings and couldn't hold it. Shelby Miller, what are you going to do? I mean, the record is what the record is. I can't imagine he's back next year. I'd be stunned, but I think anything's possible.
Yeah, it's a relatively cheap contract, but it's like $4.5 million, and you feel like you could get somebody else. It's, like you see the foundation, the building pieces for a good reliever there, the splitter, the high fastball that doesn't seem to get hit that much, but then he throws that slider or whatever, and it just gets murdered. And just the one thing you can't be as a reliever is a guy who gives up home runs.
Yeah.
I suppose you can be that if you're like a Tyler Holton, where that's all you give up, and it's only solo home runs, and it's like once every 8 outings or something like that. And actually, it's been a while, I think, for him. But yeah, Miller, just too many home runs. You can't be a leverage reliever like that. So hopefully they improve there. But yeah, I mean that was a string of kind of absolutely wild games where you had the 5-run or the Padres walk-off win, then the Parker Meadows miraculous home run.
Yep.
That we should all remember. Hope even if it doesn't take them to the promised land, that it was still one of the big moments of the season.
Oh, no question.
And then you get the like you said, that 13 or 12 inning, was it 12 or 13?
13.
It was too many innings. Very frustrating to watch, but that's just the way it goes. Every time the Tigers go on the West Coast, they have at least one game like that.
And and they bounce back. To their credit, they bounce back and get the next 2, which I thought showed a lot of heart.
Yeah.
You could have been up late that night and come back the next day dragging, and they came out and won a tight one, and then they put a whooping on them on Sunday. So,
I'll say I was mildly surprised that they didn't scratch off a run in the 9th today. It's one thing I've felt about this team. There was that dead period in the middle of the season where it just seems like they couldn't do anything on offense. But going way back to the beginning of the year when they kept pulling games out late,
yep.
And in these last month, 6 weeks or whatever, they continue to put together good plate appearances in the 8th and the 9th inning. They don't give away at bats for the most part, and they're a very resilient, scrappy young bunch, and it's been fun to watch. That above all else, I think is reason to have optimism for the future.
Oh, I agree. And Deadly Ninja Bee just said it. Tigers aren't boring, and that's a fact. And it's been a very, very. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in one of our segments. The games have been entertaining, and that's really, as a fan, and especially as one that's we've seen a lot of exceedingly dull baseball for a number of years, more than we deserve. That's for sure. This brand of baseball they're playing right now, and the games have been very tight. Some very exciting finishes, great pitching. I almost said we couldn't ask for more. Well, of course we can ask for more. We want them in the playoffs now. But barring that, it's a good style of baseball, and it's been a fun summer.
For sure. Sorry, I just had something come across the screen here on Twitter. It was from 30 minutes ago. That from Jeff Passan. Apparently, a Twins draft pick was just released for their 6th-round pick this year for telling the Lakeland Flying Tigers hitters what pitch was coming.
Sweet. Crash Davis did it.
Yeah. That's
oh my God.
Wacky.
They gotta find out more about that.
Yeah. Raj. How are you? Did you just hear what I was just talking about by any chance?
No, I just missed it.
So I'm going to retweet. Oh, it's already been retweeted 1,000 times. Jeff Passan just wrote that.
Oh, yeah, the Derek Bender thing. Yeah. I was reading about that. And you and I have been talking about Fort Myers' collapse for the last few weeks anyways, because they've been losing at a clip. So I think this has been probably going on a lot longer, at least in my opinion. Because wasn't Fort Myers they were like, what, 7-8 games up?
Well, I know they lost like 7 or 8 in a row. I don't know how many games up, but boy, what would possess somebody to do that? You were drafted
South Park
this.
episode.
He's drafted this
Remember that
year.
South Park?
No, I don't remember. There was one like that?
There's a South Park episode where the guys wanted to lose on purpose.
Oh,
and so everybody else was trying to lose. Is everybody? Yeah, I just realized everybody's wearing a black shirt.
Well, and I have this black background. I didn't know how to do the good background. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No, but there's a South Park episode where they just try to lose on purpose, so they want to end this, so they can enjoy their summer. And every team, and Cartman's team, or it's Cartman, all the guys' team end up going to the championship, because they're trying to lose the whole time. So it's just hilarious.
Yeah,
Sarcastic ball, I believe it is. Yeah, that was the episode. That was, and then it was because Randy's Stan's dad is trying to fight everybody too. What are you gonna do, Flip? What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna? Every baseball dad and it's on the entire tournaments are all the way up the course. So yeah, the catcher just did not. Yeah, apparently he didn't want to play. So
yeah, I'm reading it right now. So apparently it was the second game of their doubleheader. He told multiple hitters for the Lakeland Flying Tigers the specific pitch being thrown. Lakeland scored 4 runs in the second inning, won the game 6-0 to capture the Florida State League West Division and eliminate the team. Fort Myers coaches were notified by Lakeland coaches about Bender's pitch tipping following the game.
Wow.
Bender's willingness to tip pitches surprised Lakeland players, and there are no indications of wrongdoing from the Flying Tigers. Bender had told teammates he wanted the season to be over, according to sources.
That was the line. That was my favorite part about it too. He's just like, guys, I wonder what is he still getting paid the same or something or what? Like,
let's see. So yeah, Bender spent the final 2 games of the season, which the Muscles won, in the team's bullpen instead of his typical place in the dugout. Selected with the 188th overall pick this year, he signed for $297,000 and will keep the entirety of his bonus.
Nice. And that might be all he ever earns in professional baseball.
Maybe he'll be.
Meanwhile, Lakeland's gonna advance to the final, right? I mean, they won earlier with Jose Briseño with 2 triples tonight.
Briseño had a triple. Jack Penny had 2 triples.
Oh, okay. I thought Briseño had 2 triples.
Now, Briseño, they've Clearwater made 4 errors, and Gabriel Reyes, man, we've talked about him a ton on the minor league show. It's he and Castillo. They don't get nearly enough
props.
Notice, Gabriel Reyes, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 10 strikeouts. He struck out a ton of batters over his last 4 or 5 starts. Just a really fun young lefty in their system. So, yeah, good for them that they'll move on to the Florida State League Finals. And hey, not bad. So, yeah, we were just kind of talking through the last 2 series. Raj, I don't know if you have any commentary. You said you were flying all day today, so you didn't really have a chance to watch the game. I don't know if you have any thoughts about the games or you have any thoughts about travel in general.
Well, I do have a couple of thoughts. I didn't watch the only game I didn't watch the series at all. This was the Skubal one. So first and foremost, if you're traveling, do yourself a favor. If you're wearing cologne and perfume, don't. I had a taste of perfume in my mouth all day until I got to. So I'm out in Salem, Oregon, and a connecting flight from Detroit. We'll talk baseball here in a second because I do have some thoughts about the series. The foregone conclusion that Sweetie is going to be the shortstop next year if the game continues kind of production. I just would like to pump the brakes on it a little bit because teams will take time to catch up. And this is an opportunity for everybody to bash Javier Baez. Like, guys, we can do better than that. I mean, Sweeney is a good story, but teams will adjust. And if you adjust with that and he gets better, great. It's a great story for what they got. But I'm just kind of, I don't know. I'm just sick and tired of Javier Baez. It's such an old played thing. Why are you comparing at bats a Baez to Sweeney? It's 2 different scenarios. Baez has probably played hurt too. Baez is what he is. He's not good. And we know this. But we have to compare him to Sweeney automatically. He's the new appointed shortstop. Wait till players adjust. There's always an adjustment with this. I mean, look at Parker Meadows. It took a while before he got adjusted. Sweeney's just coming up. But that happened. That's one of the observations about the series. Another thing about traveling, by the way, do yourself a favor. And when you go to like Portland, when you get a rental, make sure you get a rental ahead of time, which I did. Thankfully, my reservation went pretty smooth. There's a lot of people standing in line. There was a line out the door, like almost like, I'm not even kidding. It was like a line for a concert. Just a huge line just for people that are trying to get a rental and then book a reservation. How do you not book a reservation at that? That's it about travel. But as far as getting back to the Tigers, though, it's been really good fun baseball to watch. I really enjoy the fact that they hammered out 11 runs against the A's, and then they were able to do the same thing against the Rockies. Timely hitting, those hits where, I mean, the one that Keith hit off the base, things like that for the Tigers. Usually go the opposite way for the Tigers. This time it went for the Tigers. So, some good stuff.
So this weekend they had to, they got Baltimore coming in. Looks like they're going to see
Burns,
Eflin, Burns, and Povich, right? So 3 decent pitchers. I mean, obviously Burns has not been as good lately. The Baltimore comes in. People have been kind of afraid of the Tigers playing the Orioles. It seems like online we see that a lot. But a lot of that, I think, is based on the team they were in May and June, and not so much the team they've been the last couple months. They're still good, and they're still extremely talented, obviously. But they've been kind of just bobbing along with a 500 level of baseball for a fairly long level of amount of time. So I don't fear them this weekend. If the Tigers have been playing, they can win 2 games this weekend.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things. It's you look about at the level of talent of the teams, right? And Baltimore certainly has a lot of talent. Oakland doesn't seem to have a lot of talent, but Oakland's been playing better than Baltimore for the last 2 months, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually. Let me check that real quick. The win-loss record.
I think you're going to be right on that one.
Oakland is 27-21 heading into tonight, and Baltimore is 25-26. The Tigers, by the way, are 28-22.
Yep.
So that's since the second half of the season. So basically since the All-Star break. So yeah, the Tigers have been playing better than the Orioles. I get it, right? Baltimore is, like we said, all that talent. You can't really afford to make mistakes and stuff. But there's, like you said, there's absolutely no reason the Tigers can't go in there and take 2 or 3. You'd like them to. That would be nice. They kind of need to.
Lakeland's gone final.
Nice.
So 6-1 win. They advance. They advance, right? That's best out of 3, right?
Yep. I'm recording it right now. I'll post it up in just a second. I don't know if shall we get into the segments now?
Well, there's one
yes,
last
we
thing.
should.
Oh, wait. You've got one more.
All right, one last quick thing. If they can take 2 out of 3 with Baltimore, right? And they go into Kansas City next week, that's really the biggest opportunity left on their schedule, right? If they can summon some excellent baseball and take 3 games in Kansas City, which I think the odds are pretty low of that, but considering how they got pasted there last time they were in Kansas City. But if they can, I think it really becomes far more about catching Kansas City than catching Minnesota. Because I think, with not playing Minnesota anymore and having the tiebreaker go their way, I think a lot of this, if there is a chance at the playoffs, I think it really goes through Kansas City and winning 3 games there. That would really be turn this whole thing around.
Yeah. Kansas City feels like the one team that has gotten to Skubal this year. I'd have to go back and look, but I definitely remember them having one outing where they really kind of got to them. I don't know, something about playing there at Kauffman, right? That's in Kauffman.
Yeah.
Yeah, their offense is so good there this year, but we'll see. I mean, that's a team that I'm not super scared of, other than Bobby Witt is a monster, and Seth Lugo throws 84 different pitches, and the Tigers can't hit any of them. So it'd be nice to figure him out. But
Yeah, that's one of those things where I think for the Tigers heading into that series, even with I know the Royals just picked up a couple veterans too. The Royals have continued to defy logic, but they've also, again, one of my favorite stories this year. They spent a little bit of money. They have their own farm system that's produced, once in a generational talent with Bobby Witt Jr., but they have other pieces on their system that help. So they're progressing along really well with their rebuilding plan. So let's go inside numbers. All right. Usually I don't go first, but because I do have to eat dinner at some point, I do want to go to my inside number. My food it was supposed to come like a half hour ago and it came later. So I don't like to eat on camera because no one wants to see that. So while you guys do your segments, I wanted to do mine real quick. And that's kind of Montero's start. So I don't know if you guys have talked about the Maddox he's pulled, but the inside number I wanted to go in and put in my article was 19.8, and that was the knuckle through. The reason why it's so impressive is because righties hit that pitch at an 18 for 14 against the pitch. Nobody, but the night he threw, he allowed no hits with it, using it 10.1% of the time against righties. That's how good that knuckle curve was. And I noticed too that the Tigers have worked with his mechanics, have changed some things since he came up here. So it's worth mentioning that Kyler Montero, and I couldn't put this good, bad, hot, ready. I couldn't put this in the words better on the article, but Kyler Montero has the ability to be like number one, number two stuff. The fact that he went through a complete game for the first time in his career on that start, again, I know the Rockies are over a team that, they're not like world beaters or anything. That was one of those just dominant starts I've seen in a Tigers uniform in a long time. And the other inside number is 2, or I'm sorry. Yeah, it's 2. Felipe Lira and Jose Lima, thank you, Chris, on this, are the only Tigers who have thrown complete game shutouts. In terms of Felipe Lira did it twice, and then Lima did it twice as well. So, and the reason why that stands out is that they'll both were international signings. And Tigers international signing-wise, pitching-wise have not done very well. So that's what stands out to me about that start. So I'm going to go off camera, but you guys continue.
So,
you want to go for it?
Sure. My inside the numbers, we're also going to talk a little bit about Montero, but we're going to veer off him. My number is 9. Since they started tracking pitch counts in 1988, that is the 9th Maddox thrown by the Tigers. And you have some of the suspects you would expect. Obviously, Galarraga in his imperfect game. Rick Porcello, David Price. Brian Moeller had 2 of them. So way to go, Brian Moeller, with a double dip. But some of the others, you got your Mike Moore on there, John Doherty, Montero, but here's the one that surprised me, and I'm going to have to make an admission here because I usually pride myself on knowing names. Dave Haas. For the life of me, I did not remember Dave Haas, who the hell that was. And so sure enough, in 1992 at Comiskey Park, he threw a shutout gem at the White Sox. He had been called up in August of that year and made 11 starts, 6 of them quality starts, by the way, but only struck out 29 guys in about 62 innings. That night, he throws 9 innings. He struck out 2, allowed 4 hits, no walks. And to me, was the most unidentifiable of the Maddox people on the Tigers list. But the cool part is I love looking at old box scores. When Dave Haas went into Comiskey that night, he faced a team that was 12 games over 500. And the lineup
Ooh.
Pretty impressive.
Robin Ventura.
Well, yeah.
Frank Thomas. Carlton Fisk.
Yep.
Ron Karkovice.
No. You're missing one more Hall of Famer.
Harold Baines.
Nope.
No. Another Hall of Fame hitter, huh?
Yeah.
Who am I thinking? Roger is desperately wanting to yell.
Yeah. Wait, for the White Sox?
Yeah, 92.
1992. Frank
Thomas. We already mentioned Frank Thomas and Carlton Fisk.
It's in the Hall of Fame.
This guy's in the Hall of Fame. I'm 99.5% sure.
Is that Robin Ventura, is it?
No. He's not in the Hall of Fame, is he?
No.
He's in the Hall of Pretty Good.
90? Yeah, I was going to say Hall of Pretty Good. You said 92 White Sox had you said Harold Baines already too?
No. Well, he may have been on. He did not play this night. Dave Haas threw a Maddox for the Tigers.
I'm looking at it now.
Holy shit, really? Wow.
It's a hell of a good lineup. There's also MVP.
Wait.
Oh.
Raines.
Yeah.
Tim Raines. Yes.
Man, yeah, that is a good lineup.
So they had Tim Raines, Frank Thomas, Carlton Fisk in the Hall of Fame level. They had Robin Ventura in the Hall of Pretty Damn Good. They had a former MVP in George Bell. And they had Steve Sachs, who was a Rookie of the Year.
I totally forgot that Sachs and Bell both were playing for the White Sox at that point.
They were a good team. They were 12 games over 500 at this point in August.
Yeah, Bell, 87 MVP, even though Trammell deserved it. All right, I'm going to go back to eating.
Yeah, and the Tigers scored 8 runs that day. Rob Deere, home run. Cecil Fielder, home run. Scott Livingstone, home run.
Scott Livingstone, yes, I saw that. That was beautiful. So I love old box scores, and I'm glad that Keter Montero's Maddox got me in touch with Dave Haas and his Maddox, the most anonymous Maddox in Tiger history so far.
Very nice. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those things that it's not quite like a no hitter or a perfect game, right? But you're still seeing something that's pretty darn rare now, and really, especially for a rookie. So that's a lot of fun.
Well, strikeouts. Strikeouts now are so important. It runs up pitch counts. I mean, that guy struck out 2 guys. He struck out 2. So his pitch economy was pretty good.
Yeah. So my inside the number does slightly involve Montero, but it's not about Montero specifically. It's my numbers are 7 and 1.98. So 7 is the number of rookie pitchers the Tigers have used this year. You got Montero, you got Brant Herter, you got Ty Madden, Brian Sammons, Brennan Hanafy, Easton Lucas, and Ricky Vanasco. And the 1.98 is how much lower the ERA of those 7 rookies has been in the big leagues than it was in the minors.
Yeah.
In the minor leagues, they combined for a 5.78 ERA and 353 in a third innings. In Detroit, it's a 3.80 ERA and 182 innings. It's it's about half the innings, but even still, they'd have to all completely collapse to get to there. So it's just a massive difference, and it's absolutely fascinating to me. I have no idea what's going on. It makes it very hard for me to project the minor leaguers, like I was saying earlier. My one theory, and this is just it, is that in the big leagues they actually game plan, and they might not in the minors. So it might just be in AAA. It might just be, hey, call pitches in the sequence that you think makes sense. Go out there and try to get outs. Use all your pitches. And in the big leagues, they might say, okay, we're going to attack this hitter like this with these pitches. We're going to put these pitches back to back because that's what gets them out. And I mean, like you said, we can't just say that Chris Fetter has like some sort of magic wand and instantly fixes all these guys, but they've got to be doing something at the big league level,
right?
Or AAA has just gone completely bonkers, and it may be a little bit of both. But I don't know, it's wild to me.
For the relievers, I wonder with the 6-game series, a lot of times they see relievers 2 or 3 times in a week. Mm-hmm. Where in the majors you see you might see a reliever for another couple of months again. I don't know if that's worth anything.
Yeah, and occasionally starters will make 2 starts in a week. Yeah. The Tuesday Sunday starter. I mean, I have not looked into that, but it would be kind of fascinating to see what the numbers are for those starters in their first start compared to the second one in the week. But yeah, there's a lot of different things going on. But that's that's all throughout the minors. So just a massive difference, and I thought that was kind of fun.
No, it's very cool.
Seen it play out.
That is a cool thing, Chris. And one thing before we go back to what I was doing was just the split. Like for example, Madden splitter, that cutter. an example of that right there, Chris. We never saw that cutter. I mean, we saw that cutter at player split finger, but that was something that they maybe saw one pitch or two in Toledo. Were like, let's keep working on that pitch up here, especially because he struggles against lefties. I mean, Madden has always been, anytime he tries to go in on left, they hammer it, and he's been really good. That pitch was sick. That was phenomenal. And so maybe I think there's something to be said about that, Chris, with game planning. And I'm going to ask Garko. I want to ask Garko about that too when we talk to him again, because I'm wondering too if it's something that we've heard where certain players are working on certain pitches at any given time. So maybe that's the cases they use in AAA more as like a lab versus kind of like game planning, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect that Garko won't tell us any secrets or anything like that, but it may be that I think we may need to ask him, like, so then how are you guys, how do you know when a pitcher's actually ready now when he's got a 7.5 ERA? like oh no, he's actually ready. But who knows? I don't know. It's been fun, and we'll see if it continues with some of these young arms, and certainly the bullpenning bulk role has played a large role in this too, particularly with guys like Madden and Herter, who have pretty pronounced platoon splits. When you get them favorable matchups, that's only helping them. But
Sure.
and they weren't doing that in the minors. But I don't know. It's something to watch going forward. So we can move on to our good, bad, and ugly. I guess you want to go first. I'll go second, and then Raj can go third, so you have time to finish his foodstuffs.
Sure.
All right.
My good, we've already kind of touched on it, but that's all right. I want to wax poetic a little bit more about it if possible. Just the having relevant baseball back in September is really just a godsend for us. I mean, it's been so long. Not that, we were suffering, but, you watch enough baseball, and the amount of baseball that, we put in and our listeners put in, you got to really want it to have sat through the 2019 season with the Tigers and seasons like that. So to see what they've done this year with a young cast, that potential, this year's success does not mean they're going to have success next year like this. They may, but we don't know that. But enjoying the moment for what it is, being able to watch, I was really, really monitoring that Twins-Angels game last night, in a game I never would have gave a damn about, a few months ago. The Tigers are now 28-22 since the All-Star break, so 28 out of their last 50. Going into today, they had the best record in the American League since the All-Star break. And that loss today, they might have moved them into a tie with someone, but still playing excellent baseball. I'm very thankful for it. It is the good for me this week. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this ride, even if they fall out of it, which they may, because it's very tight right now to have this number of games left and be 3.5 out. It's not going to be easy. They're going to have a lot of good breaks go their way.
Yeah, not to interject too much, but I just one last time to say that, I before the season, I thought that they were going to win 84 games, and I thought that would give them a chance in the division, because I didn't think the division was any good. And the only thing that has really changed is that the Royals in Cleveland ended up being really good, and that the Twins are fighting with them too. So they didn't do it the way I thought they would. I thought they'd be a little bit more consistent all year long, but anyway, here they are, about what we thought.
On the other hand, under the bad, and we've talked about it a lot. I know Pap has brought them up a lot, but it still has to be spoken about, because it is so wretched. It's the inverse of the Tigers. The White Sox, 6-43, since the All-Star break. I mean, it defies anything you can imagine. I mean, can you just imagine being a White Sox fan and just the drudgery of that right now? It's unbelievable. And my only question is this. We know what the 2003 Tigers did, right? They won 43 games. They spent a little bit of money, and they came back out the next year, and they bounced back to 71 wins, I believe, or 72, whatever it was. Where do you see the White Sox? I don't know how much you've looked at their roster and what what can they do next year, and how long until they are even sniffing 500?
Yeah, I mean, that Oh, Roger, you're muted.
Real quick, Uper, look at their farm system a little bit, because watching Charlotte, they have some pitchers, but I think their farm system is nowhere near what the Royals have, or Cleveland has, or even the Twins for that matter. I think the White Sox are going to stay second division for a while. I don't really see. I think Chris Getz is over his head a little bit, honestly. There's some things about their pitching that are, you can look at for the farm system, but I don't see any hitters. I don't see anybody that really stands out in their low levels. And so if you take away a player like Andrew Vaughn, oh my God, the team would even be more atrocious. I don't see any type of, they're not going to spend money either, because Jerry Reinsdorf is a penny pitching dick.
No.
I mean, Andrew Benintendi is the most money they ever spent. And no offense to Andrew Benintendi, but come on. I mean, I don't know. I just don't see any on the horizon.
So to steal a term from politics, you see them having a dead cat bounce next year. When they're not bouncing back. They're not winning 40 more games.
There's no pieces. Like, you can look at the 2003 Tigers and see some, they were in over their head, and Dabrowski had to start all over. There's no, I don't see anything that Cats can do right now in the immediate future that can give them at least some sort of level of respectability.
I mean, it's the offense is just absolutely abject, right? Like that's the thing right now. They actually had some decent pitching. Garrett Crochet, if not for an innings limit, would probably be challenging Skubal for the Cy Young, just somehow on one of the worst teams ever. Because he has a pretty spectacular year. He's just hasn't thrown many innings. The Eric Fetty signing was really pretty good and smart. They traded him away. But yeah, I feel like that's a situation where I think you kind of have to trade Crochet, or I don't even know if you extend him. This doesn't seem like something that's going to turn around in 2 years,
right?
Maybe 3, probably more like 4 or 5. And so I think they've got, they went and drafted, was it Hagen Smith this year, right?
Yep.
And they have Noah Schultz, who's one of the top young left-handed pitching prospects in baseball. That's, we know what you can count on for top pitching prospects, but it's a start. You got Luis Robert still. I think you trade. I mean, you wouldn't trade him right now because he didn't have a good year, and you'd be trading at the bottom of his value.
Yep.
But yeah, I think you look into trading Crochet. I think you try to figure something out with I don't know, like the Orioles, right? But that's the only thing I can think that they could do, and just kind of lean into it and try to build it through the farm. Because I don't think a handful of free agents is fixing this.
Yeah, and you're right. And as Raj mentioned with Dombrowski, when the Tigers at least had Dombrowski, right? I mean, a guy who had a winning track record to guide the ship, and that's not in Chicago right now. And they have the cheapskate owner. When the Tigers surprised us and brought in Pudge Rodriguez that year, that signaled that, hey, we're not going to take this lying down. I don't know if the White Sox will do that. And I just keep going back to 6-43, and it's hard to even fathom. It really is. My last thing, I went the good, the bad, and the exciting. You guys know, everybody who listens to this, everybody who watches me on Twitter knows I'm a Kumar Rocker guy. Kumar makes the big debut tonight, and it's actually in a game that affects the Tigers. He's going to be taking on the Mariners, and the Tigers could use a Mariners loss. Kumar has been throwing bullets in the minors. He dominated, not for a ton of innings, but every step along the way, A-ball, AA, AAA, he's been posting a lot of zeros, and he's been averaging about 98 miles an hour with his fastball. He looks like the dude at Vanderbilt that was scaring the pants off of college hitters. He's doing that in the pros right now. We'll see what he does against major league hitters tonight. But I'm a big Kumar guy. I'm hoping he throws a gem.
So first inning, 2 strikeouts, 2 hits, but no runs.
Okay.
And then Josh Young, Jace's brother, hit a leadoff homer for the Raiders. So
all right, good start.
He's up 1-0 there. Excuse me. We can move on to my good, bad, and ugly. My good. We're going to talk about a couple old friends tonight. My good, Eugenio Suarez. Eugenio Suarez. In the last 30 days, Suarez is second in baseball in batting average at 356, behind only Luis Arias. He's tied with Ohtani for the most home runs with 11. He's second in baseball with 27 runs scored, behind only his teammate Corbin Carroll. And he leads all of baseball with 28 RBIs and a 210 WRC plus. That's been good for 2 WAR in 1 month.
Wow.
The only player better than that is Francisco Lindor at 2.1 WAR the last month. So just a monster month for old buddy Eugenio Suarez, and I believe he is a free agent who plays third base. It's probably not the safest free agent target. He's like 33, but you look at his production over the last few years. I'm looking right now. So this year he's at 3.7 WAR with 28 home runs. Last year, 3.5 WAR with 22 home runs. The year before that, 4.3 WAR with 31 home runs. He's not the world's best defender,
right?
But he grades out okay, at least according to like defensive run save. I don't know. Do you? I don't think you give him any sort of Matt Chapman contract or anything like that. But a year or two, who knows? Maybe he's just a guy who really benefits from hitting in Arizona. But certainly a good month. I wanted to give him credit for that.
Absolutely.
My bad is Cutter Crawford. And I don't know why this one gives me pleasure. I think mostly because at the beginning of the year, I don't know, just like you score one for regression, and people probably don't remember this, but at the beginning of the year, the Red Sox had like 3 of the best pitchers in baseball by WAR, like through the first 6 weeks. Yep. It was Tanner Houck and Cutter Crawford. And through 10 starts, he had a 2.17 ERA with 58 innings pitched. It was 1.9 WAR at the time, tied for 4th in baseball behind only Skubal, Houck, and Shota Imanaga. And since May 19th, 0.0 WAR, dead last in baseball among qualified starters. It's a 5.10 ERA, a 5.62 FIP in 109 innings pitched. I never thought he was good. I'm glad that I was right. So, hooray for me. Sorry, Cutter Crawford. I didn't think that they somehow miraculously turned him into a good starter. And my ugly is another old friend. And this one's tough. It is Justin Verlander. It's a big sigh for Justin Verlander, one of the all-time greats, of course. I think everybody in the Tigers, most Tigers fans still love him, want him to come back no matter what in some capacity. But boy, has he been bad since he came back from his neck injury. And remember, that neck injury happened. He was supposed to face the Tigers, and it's like, oh, he's got a sore neck, and then he was out for like 2 months.
Yep.
And since he's been back, it's awful. 27 hits, 19 earned runs, 7 walks, 12 strikeouts in 17.2 innings. It's an 0-4 record, a 9.68 ERA. It's only a 5.32 FIP, so not that bad, but still really, really ugly. And it's hard to imagine the Astros putting him on their playoff roster at this point. Like, if he doesn't turn things around dramatically over the next 3 weeks or so, I don't know how you can bring that guy into the playoffs. And that's just really unfortunate, for one of the all-time greats. But, time comes for everybody. It's a bummer.
I saw some Astros podcasters doing what we do, kind of projecting a postseason rotation. And it was 3 of them. One dude gave Verlander the pity spot. The other 2 said no way. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Do you know if his velocity is down?
It seems he's still averaging, 94-ish. So it's not like, he's not getting, throwing 89, 91 out there. But so the arm's still there. It's just, just not crisp at all. And who knows what's going on. So.
You got anything, Rod?
Well, so my good this week, and I don't think we've got really guys to talk about this too much, is Will Vest. Will Vest has been quietly, I don't want to say quietly because, I feel like it is quiet because a lot of the attention to the bullpen gets to Tyler Holton, what have you, but the number, I was going to use this for my inside number, but his overall body of work just speaks for itself. 2.7. That is a barrel rate that puts him in the 99th percentile of all baseball pitchers right there. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But the number that stands out to me is 10. And that is his fastball run value on baseball, according to Baseball Savant. That's how good his fastball has been. He's not going to overwhelm you in strikeouts, but he gets a lot of those like clutch outs done. And so it's really, I don't know, Will Vest has kind of been a big reason why the bullpen has been good in the second half of the season, but he's not often talked about, at least in my opinion. My bad is James Earl Jones passing away. James Earl Jones, Yes, he was 93 years old. It was about to happen, but he's synonymous with baseball movies, The Sandlot, Field of Dreams. I don't know. It sucks. James Earl Jones, just a very talented actor too. He did, of course. I think Coming to America is one of my favorite roles he's done. But in terms of just delivering baseball roles, just kind of like the line he delivers in Field of Dreams, how baseball turns over, and like the whole speech, fantastic, well delivered.
Wiping away. People will come.
Because I read the book. Yeah, I've read the book, and I've also listened to the book on audio, and it's crap compared to the way James Earl Jones delivered that line. So
I've heard that
special to do that.
That's one of the few. Sometimes people say that books are always better than movies. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, no? you broke up there for a moment. Yeah,
sorry. No, I've heard that's occasionally there's a book or a movie that's actually better than a book, and I've heard that Field of Dreams is one of those. The book itself is not all that great. But.
Yeah, the book is really. There's a part in the book too where they go watch a Twins game together with Doc Graham, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. The movie was much better than the book. I was kind of disappointed.
He was in a movie in the 70s you guys should check out with Billy D. Williams, Bingo Long's Motor Kings, All Stars and Motor Kings. And it was a kind of a comedy about
I've heard about that movie.
Barnstorming bunch of guys, taking on the white teams all over the South and stuff. And James Earl Jones plays a really bombastic, loud guy playing first base. He's really good at it.
The Great White Hope.
Yeah, but I did not know. I've heard about that. I've heard about the movie, but I've not seen it yet. Definitely worth checking out for sure.
It might be hard to find. I have no idea, but it's worth it.
It's probably one of those movies that they don't stream or probably see anymore.
Yeah.
But as far as my ugly goes, I'll be honest with you, I really don't have anything this week that really stands out to me. Just because the amount of positivity we've been witnessing with the Tigers. The only thing, the catcher situation with the Twins, catcher prospect is bizarre, and I hope it doesn't take away from the fact that Lakeland, regardless, played their asses off the entire second half of the season anyway. So just take those games out of the Twins influencing the record anyway, regardless. But no, you have Erie starting the playoffs on Tuesday against Akron. You have Lakeland, who's going to advance to the championship. You have the Florida State or Florida Complex team, Tigers. The Complex team won. And then you have the Dominican Summer League who wins playoffs. So, yeah. Well, Yankees walk off the Red Sox. Well, there you go. How long since the Sox had a winning streak?
Oh, the Red Sox? Yeah, I don't know.
The White Sox.
Oh, good. They swept the Rays in a series earlier this year, didn't they? I want to say, but that might be the last time.
That's probably it. Yeah,
I can go look.
But no, overall, that's really about it in terms of I'm sure there's some other stat I'm missing out there, but again, great baseball we've been watching, plus just lack of time to get another ugly. I couldn't think of anything that was really worthwhile. So
do you think that kid gets another job, the catcher?
Boy,
Mexico, maybe.
I don't think so.
If they thought he was good enough, that's a top 200 pick. Somebody's, I think, going to give him another chance, but they're going to have to really, it's going to have to be, you're absolutely zero tolerance for BS. Figure out why in the world you did this. I don't know.
Yeah. I was thinking one of those indie leagues. That's why he might end up there.
Oh, yeah, speaking of indie leagues, by the way, Max Green leading the Atlantic League in wins. Former Tiger prospect Max Green. I passed that out. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a fun fact that you sent me, and I totally missed that you actually texted me the story, Raj. I was busy doing the show, and I didn't look down at my phone to see that you had tipped me off. But
no worries.
Well, I mean, I'd like to think that Verlander isn't toast, but he sure looks a little toasty right now, unfortunately. But we'll see. I thought he was toast 8 years ago.
Well, I mean, he was in his 30s then. Now he's in his 40s. It's a little different now.
Yep.
Case in point, I have arthritis on my knee that I'm having knee pain, and I went to the doctor, and they're like, "Oh, that's just arthritis." And I've been avoiding it for 20 years. My knee's been bothering me since high school. We used to run cross country, and then I played baseball for a decade plus. Now all of a sudden my right knee's like, oh yeah, just watch out. You have arthritis in your knee. Fun. So
You know who should sign Bender? Sorry to interrupt. The Tigers.
Oh.
He's already helped out the Tigers, right? Like,
sure.
They're like, oh,
thanks for positive WAR for the Tigers.
Yeah. 6-round
But
pick.
do the Tigers need another catcher that hits over 300? You know, like
you can never have too many catchers. Bring him in, and if he, if he's pulls some BS, you cut him. But
so Tyler brings up a good question here. I like this question because it's not a Bueller question, because that by the way, let's give credit where credit's due. Evan Petzold was the first person to say that the idea of
no. Well, we said it before Evan did, but I didn't want to say anything.
Okay, we did. Okay.
What's that?
Okay, so we did say it. Okay, so we did say it. Either way, I know
the idea of going after Walker Bueller.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been saying, well, there's a lot of times we say things and then end up mysteriously somewhere else, and then we never complain about, But anyway, it doesn't matter. Shane Bieber signing off. I love to see that. That's a good one right there. I think Bieber he'd be a guy, maybe go 3 or 4 innings because he's coming off surgery, and the way the Tigers are operating their pitchers right now, that's not bad. That's actually a good idea, considering that he would be a guy that you can throw out there with the rest of your bullpen guys out there. So, speaking of, by the way, I forgot to mention this also. This is the ugly. I should have mentioned this is the ugly. Wilmer Flores, back on the IL, right shoulder inflammation.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. He came back.
Yeah,
tough couple of years.
Came back, was not good in AAA. He was okay, in his rehab assignments until he got back to AAA. And it goes back to our AAA numbers. Who the hell knows? But it was getting really lit up again, and unfortunately, who knows? Feels a little bit like I don't want to say what it feels like, but yeah, hopefully he can get healthy and come back next year and figure it out. So, yeah, I don't know. That's about all I have tonight. Tigers got to go win some big games. The next, who knows what our mood will be this time next week? It could be ecstatic. It could be, resigned to failure. But either way, they've made it to the middle of September and held our attention. So that's pretty fun.
No question about it.
Yeah. I mean, you have the Lions winning on Sunday, you have the Tigers winning on Sunday, and there's so much more you can ask for as a Detroit sports fan. You have both your teams winning in the same day, and you're seeing progress with the Tigers. So now, I mean, the chat tonight, thanks to everybody who chatted tonight, some of the conversations about some of the players that you start thinking about lineups next year, you start thinking about those things, and it's all positive. So, and holy crap. 1 month until Wings opening night. I mean, it's already hockey season's already upon us, and same thing with the NBA. Basketball's not too far around the corner too. And the Pistons the Pistons had a pretty good offseason too. But thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. And we'll be back on Monday night with the minor league recap. And Thursday, I'll be out in Erie for game 2. There's a chance I might go game 1 in Akron, but honestly, with all the traveling I'm doing, I don't come back so my flight comes back Sunday morning at like 5 a.m. And fun times. But either way, thanks so much for listening. Check out all the great content over at TigerMLReport.com. There is a Rainer Castillo scouting report, a bunch of scouting reports up there. There's going to be a West Michigan recap of the season coming up, probably come out sometime this weekend. Just putting some finishing touches to it and more. So all the great stuff there. Please donate to the website. We're going to be launching. We're going to be doing a couple of things differently to raise funds for Lakeland this year. So, or Lakeland coming up. And then, with Arizona fall ball coming up, we're going to be covering that. Our season doesn't end. I mean, we might have a week or two break, but all coverage continues over at TigersMLReport.com. For myself, Chris, and Uper, and Mike, somewhere floating at doing euchre. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.